that people said, let's take a look at that. And again, that's in the report, and it's in the appendices. There's a few others.
And we mentioned transit observers. These are programs that we've planned out for many years, and we've tried to be grown, implemented with a lot of funding put into strategies to get people use it properly. To have an knee-jerk reaction because of a provincial budget and just slice at the bottom, is that ever a really great way to implement change, or is that usually the same?
I think there's no discussion to say let's cut transit altogether. There was no comment, or let's cut garbage altogether. I think that there has been some discussion in terms of looking at, is there ways to find efficiencies within those systems? And I think that's pretty much, I don't want to talk for your administration, they have a lot more people that can talk as opposed to I do, but I think is looking at ways that we could do some cuts around the edges to sort of try and address this issue this year. And again, I come back to the point where I don't believe the door is completely shut on these discussions with the government of Saskatchewan. And, far be it for us to, we're not the kind of organization that's going to say, well, listen, this is your problem, you go solve your problem. We think that this is a partnership. We're in this community together. And so we're actually going to be trying to be part of the solution. We've set up, I think we've got a date in the not too distant future, where we're going to sit down and talk about the grants and move issue with the province of Saskatchewan to see if we can find, at least be helpful in trying to find a solution.
I appreciate the partnership, first of all, because I know you speak that way quite well, and I really appreciate that. I guess what I'm trying to poke at is the fact that we've had year weeks to process a shortfall of this size. Quick decisions lead to mistakes, and I think that's maybe what put us in the situation to start with. So when I see surveys like the one you presented, I can see some quick decisions, some proactive ones like that, and the numbers. But on the other side of that, I also see some real pitfalls by pace or trimming too quickly. So I just wanted to see if there was any points to that in the survey you gave.
And these are suggestions, because we do not have the information to make decisions, particularly in a survey, to say, okay, let's see if we can cut $11 million. But these would be suggestions where members that don't have all the information that you would have, or that your administration would have, and say, okay, where do you think there might be some areas to look at? And so that would be the intent of providing the information, as opposed to saying, let's cut this. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Soria. Councilor Murray.
Thanks, Your Worship. Mr. Hopkins, thanks for coming out. You indicated earlier that you would be meeting with the province at some point, haven't nailed down a date yet. In that meeting with the province, are you also going to be asking them about the implications of West Nassau Authority and how that will affect the vacancy rates of downtown office space potentially?
The primary reason that we were going to meet with the government was to talk about the grants and lieu issue, as well as some other business type issues that are important to our membership. If we have and we will have the opportunity, we will have a discussion about the West Canada Centre Authority. But the primary thing will be to have a discussion about grants and lieu, just to be fair.
Yeah. I'd also suggest you do at that if you can.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Murray. Councilor Flanko.
Thanks, I'll come back, Mr. Hopkins, and just getting a feel for if you're more of like to poke a bunch of holes, or would you like to have a few holes and fix them, as we have the opportunity to do here. And what I mean by that is, would you like to see a modest tax increase, some reserves, some cuts, or would you rather see 100 different things poked at, prodded at, pulled at? What's your philosophy and yours, and maybe the chambers on doing business side? What would you like to see?
Well, I think that the results, relatively speak for themselves, and it's sort of like, let's take a multi-pronged approach to this and try to go some here, some there, a little bit of reserves, a little bit of mill rate increase. I mean, the reality is do people want to pay more? And I know there are some, but the majority would say no. But if it's a modest rate of increase, even though this year there's not going to be anything modest about it, let's be fair, because we're talking about what, at least 6%, plus the education property tax increase. So it's not going to be modest, but I think that there's appreciation that there are a number of things in play this year as compared to any other year. So I think a little bit in terms of a little bit on the reserves. I wouldn't call it the reserves because I do understand and appreciate the rationale to have reserves, is for, when the government of Canada comes out and says, okay, we're gonna have a Building Canada fund, and you're gonna be able to fix a bridge, because that'll qualify, but it needs to be a third. Well, you have to have that third somewhere, and that's the reason to have the reserve. But I look at the surplus as a little different. I mean, that's money that is a surplus before it goes into a reserve. I know it's a bit of semantics there, but we did have, I think, Jim said something like $9 million was left from the 2016 surplus. So not using all of it, but a portion of that, portion on mill rate, a portion on some deferred stuff, and a portion on some cuts here and there.
Wow, that's actually reasonable.
Do you think that modest increase is bad for business in the city of Regina, or is it something that it's a necessary for people? What's your thought on that? You've always sort of supported a modest tax increase,
Yeah.
but in light of what's going on, we're looking for, in that round numbers, around $12 million. After everything is said and done, how do we come up with a modest tax increase defined?
Right.
And let's leave the previous 3.9% out of the equation. Let's deal with today, because the administration is saying a 2.5% increase in taxes. Let's not talk the 3.9. Let's just talk. So is that a modest increase in your thinking, or is that low, or?
If I could just back up the question a little bit. And I'd like to say this, and I hope I don't get myself into trouble by saying this, but I
Right.
might. Wouldn't it be grand, or wouldn't it be great if every single government in the land actually operated the same way? Wouldn't it? I mean, we'd be in much, much better shape than where we are today with the federal debt, as well as the provincial debt and other debts that we have as a country. Not to say that we're, when you look at the country as a whole and compare us to the G7 and to other countries around the world, we're in very, very good shape. I don't mean to say that we're not. But I think that there are some that say that this organization, City Hall, is on other claims about it. I've been around this for 25 years, and this is the most transparent form of government that there is, period. I mean, people can actually come here and sit here. You can actually get up and make a presentation.
Just like in
I mean, it's not like that at
Just
every level of
like
government.
at the
And so,
legislature.
I think that generally speaking,
different.
people have the
I mean, you
opportunity.
can't make a presentation as easily by a
federal
federal presentation.
A lot of
And
people
then the
say
damn
that.
liberals went and ignored it.
The City Hall won't be heard. Well, that's not true.
Electoral reform.
And I know they were good tonight. I know that. To get back to your question, I'm sorry, I went off on a rant there. But to get back to your question, what we're talking about is a modest rate of increase. So, yes, it's modest.
It's modest. Okay, thanks.
Councilor Hopkins.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a few questions. First of all, with respect to the reserves, the $9 million already in the general reserve fund, so let me call it the reserves.
Okay.
We heard from the city manager tonight that it's not good policy to fill permanent holes in temporary funding. You suggest we look at that. I understand you're suggesting that might help us in 2017. Are you aware in 2018 we'll be left with an even more acute problem because we did that?
But just to back it up, I understand you have $213 odd million in reserves. I get that. And there's the general fund reserve, and the cemetery reserve, and the golf course reserve, and the asphalt reserve, and the list goes on. There are many different reserves that we have. And it's not like the only revenue that comes into those reserves is from surpluses. That's not the case. The revenue that comes those reserves is budgeted each and every year. And I think I have the number here somewhere for this past year, and it wasn't an insignificant number. It'll take me too long to look it up. I think it was somewhere around $50 million. I could be wrong on that number. But anyways, it was not an insignificant amount of money. But what I've said, and what we've said historically, and I won't hide from that fact, is that we would argue that some of the surplus at the end of the year should go to help fund some of the one-time costs in different budget years. So we're not saying, in fact, it was very, very surprising in the survey results that our members are very, very clear, I would say, that you should not be using the reserves to fund the entire shortfall. That would be the worst thing to be doing, really, because you're just creating, what, a 20% rate increase next year?
one goal.
Okay, this is going on way too long. It's 7:30.
And contrary.
They haven't even started debating the changes to the budget yet.
This is the chamber, we should just fight.